All right, so we're live from Black Cat Comics. Greg is all the way over there, hobbling around.
I got something rattling in my knee.
Hello there, traders.
Hey there.
We are back. Everything's late. Nobody dies. Episode 60.
Even I'm late. Lucky 60.
Lucky 60. Even round numbers.
Oh, ow. Hi.
Broken Greg is our special guest today.
Hello. Oh, and today, today's show is brought to you by the Super Bowl and Saga, and we're going to be betting on that, see which one happens first. We got a year for the Super Bowl, like 10 months.
Yeah.
I think the Super Bowl will come out first.
Probably. Mm-hmm. At this point.
Yeah.
That's
anyway, I've been told by people that we need 2 microphones.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we can look into that.
So for that, I will be talking like this for the rest of the show.
I've actually got lapel mics. We could probably use those.
Like the comedian?
Yeah. That's Dave Lapel.
Yeah, that's controversial.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something less controversial, like religion.
All right, real quick. I know that a lot of our people out there crossover, old D&D people. I just wanted to. I got my original Deities and Demigods book here, first print. A good friend that haven't talked to him in 30 years. Jim Ward passed away earlier on this year. For those of you in the tabletop community, that's a huge blow to that. That's like when Stan Lee died. Like that's a big one.
So I'm not familiar with him. Explain, who is he?
Jim Ward is he's one of the writers on a lot of the pivotal early Dungeons and Dragons books, early games designer workshop stuff. And he was a miniature staff painter for Grenadier Models, which is where I met him. I still just use tons of techniques that he taught me over the years. So, to Jim's family, we're truly sorry for your loss and appreciative of everything that he brought to this community. So I just wanted to throw that out there. He will be greatly missed in that space, for sure. So, moving on.
Boy, started that off on a high note.
We're going to throw this up there. Just a reminder, we got the Tim Odlin benefit coming up.
Mm-hmm. Next Saturday.
This is the book that he did with Doug Wagner, Beware the Eyes of Odin.
Eye.
Only
one eye.
He's got one eye.
Yeah.
One-eyed Odin.
Mm-hmm.
Doug will be here, right?
Yeah, Doug will be here for it. Yeah.
So Doug will be here.
Uh-huh.
You can get your book signed.
Yeah.
I won't bring it up.
So many people.
There's so many people going to be here for this.
I look on my announcements I got coming up there. There's so much stuff.
Yeah, so we got Doug, of course, Doug Wagner.
That's actually the smaller amount. There's another.
You've added more since.
Yeah, we've added more since.
Travis Romney. I actually have been really digging Travis's stuff lately. His social media posts.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's very topical, especially if you're in Utah. Very topical with a lot of very politically satire in a fun way. Michael Lovin is going to be here. We Go Anywhere. Andrew Malin and Chris Hoffman are both going to be here.
Chad will be here. Chad Harden will be here.
Nice.
Sal Valuto will be here.
And Sal is going to be doing portfolio reviews for young artists. So,
or old artists.
Any artist for
really any artist. Yeah. If you cocktail napkin artists. Hey, that's how the Turtles started, man.
Sal Valuto, an extremely talented artist.
Incredibly good,
yeah. I've been really digging. He's been kind of doing a lot of these kind of spaghetti western type things lately, and they're phenomenal.
He's that kind of classic comic art.
Yeah.
I would lump him in with sort of it's not a stylized, but like a John Buscema.
John Romita, for sure. Senior.
Even is there another guy? I didn't know there was another one. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Need to clarify.
No. But him and like modern stuff, like more like Steve McNiven and stuff like that. I mean, just
Right.
he's just when you look at his art, you look at it and you're like, oh, that's comic book art.
Right.
That's a superhero. The anatomy is great. The storytelling is great. Lines are clean, crisp. It's just he's just great, and that's the kind of art I really really love. I'll go all the way over into weirdness sometimes,
Right.
but for the most part, when I'm looking at superhero stuff, like Mark Cicchetto, I think is his name on Daredevil. That run with Zdarsky, he was so good.
Right.
Aaron Cooter, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
Some more modern, current artists. But then I go to the crazy weird stuff. Like for some reason, it's typically not my thing, but I love Sam Keith. Kelly Jones,
That's a
absolutely
little different
love.
for me.
Yeah,
Keith
love
is
Kelly
different.
Jones, man. I mean, well, you know that.
Yeah.
He's on my back. Well, he's not, but got a portrait of Kelly Jones. That's Sam Keith drew for me. No, I love that kind of stuff, but Sal is definitely one of those guys where you look at it and you're like, oh, that's comic art. That is the epitome of comic art.
Right.
Yeah, it's just he's so good, man. But there's going to be a whole lot of people here, and it's going to be really cool. And again, that's that kind of community thing that we like to see. When oh, sorry, I forgot. When that's the comics community that we love.
Right.
There's two different comics communities. There's one when everybody bitches and moans about everything that happens, and I like to call that the Star Wars faction. But it's like, and there's the argumentative, complaining, like I don't do anything. And that's all they like to do.
Right.
But then there's this other community that is, they're generous and friendly, and will do anything for comics and for other creators and stuff like that. And that's what we got here.
Yes,
And
for
that's
sure.
and that's great. I love that.
And all of our creators get along. All of our shop owners get along.
Yeah.
Like, across the board.
Yeah.
And there's that one shop in Utah, but they're no longer in Salt Lake, so that doesn't matter.
I don't even know who you're talking about. Anyway,
so yeah, it's gonna be a great event if you can come down and join in the fun and festivities. Bring some art down and get some books signed from the guys. And there's gonna be a lot of really cool stuff auctioned off.
Oh man, yeah, people have been bringing down. I got some like original pages. There's like original art, stuff like that. There's a couple of if I remember, there's a couple Moon Knight pages Paul Zacata did.
Oh, nice.
That I got back there. So we'll have Chris will show up a little early, and we'll settle the auction stuff out and everything, and make sure everybody gets set up and everything's good there. So yeah. It'll be great. I don't know, but did I ever tell you the origin of this book? The first time that ever happened, Doug and Tim did an ash can for it for Free Comic Day here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Years and years ago. Yeah. So it's just, they're just, I think they did like 300 of them or something, and Tim did all the sketches on them and everything. I've got a couple of them at home, but.
That's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, they're really neat. So
track one of those down.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was
it's fun.
Cool.
Yeah. And I'm not usually the fantasy guy.
Right.
But it was fun. It was fun. I liked it a lot.
I mean, Doug's writing is always like so different.
Oh man, I hope he's not watching.
Well, different.
Oh, in a good way.
Certainly not.
Oh,
bad.
all right, okay, yeah.
Certainly not bad. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's he does a lot of horror stuff. This was very different for him.
Oh yeah.
Very different. Because he has done superhero stuff, he's done horror stuff. A lot of crazy, hyper violent, stuff. God, he did. Click, Click, Boom is his latest one.
Right.
And we got those up there. but yeah, he does some kind of spy espionage action stuff too. But like my favorite stuff that he does is like just the crazy over the
just
top
the
horror.
weird body horror stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got a new one, a sequel to Plastic.
Yeah. Which I'm very, very disappointed he didn't call Plasticer. And then the third of the trilogy would be Plasticist. Yes. But yeah, he's a veteran. He's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
1927 is when his first book came out. Anyway, so yeah, what else we got now? What else?
So one thing that has come up in a couple of the groups and we were discussing is the future of floppies versus collected editions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, we'd like to get your guys' take on that. So
you mean single issues, because this is floppy.
Yeah. And it's really weird because they're calling them graphic novels. It's not a graphic novel.
It's not a graphic novel. No,
it's a trade paperback.
Yeah. But now I have to call it that, because if I say, and like the first couple of sales I had when I was here, I was like, oh yeah, there's 50% off back issues and trades, and people are like, so if you trade something in, and I'm like, no, trade paperbacks. And right. Like, so can you trade hardcovers in? I'm like, no, that's not. No, that's not what it's called. But so just the kind of I guess colloquialism that you have to use now is graphic novels, because that's what people call them. And I feel like for a while that was like the people would use that so they wouldn't say comic books.
Right.
And, because, on comic books, that's weird, man. Comic books, man. That's for kids. Graphic novels. Now that's literature. It's like, right. Yeah, whatever. Man. A graphic novel to me is like a Harlequin romance.
They can get pretty graphic.
They can. Some sexy sexies. Who said hi?
Damien. Hey,
hi.
Damien.
Hi there.
Damien, great guy. Part of the Portland comic crew.
Yeah, I can tell it was something to do with the 666 at the end there. See? Oh, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, the future of single issues, periodicals, news, whatever you want to call them. They're not going anywhere.
It makes no sense to me, especially in the indie space. We were, what book were we just discussing? Like they got 2 issues in, and then
Beware the Eye of...
No, before we went on
there. Those damn kids.
Oh, those damn kids! Yeah. Like they put out a couple floppies, and then it's done.
Where to go?
You don't even get to see the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine that it's out there on somebody's computer out there someplace.
They had to have finished it. I mean, right. They're not just going to do 2 issues and walk away,
right?
You know what I mean? It was only a miniseries anyway. It's like, come on, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't think.
That was Garrett, right? That was Garrett Gunn.
Was it? I don't know if it was or not. I can't remember. Anyway, but the situation with that, is it's like, and they're not going away, but I think that the concept of them has to change. I don't want to see single issues go away, but I do think that some companies should do away with them. Personally, I mean, I know it's maybe a controversial thing to say, but I think DC should do away with monthly issues, because the only thing they write for is trades anyway.
True. That is true.
Yeah. And it's like, even their labeling of their books is weird, because they were like, oh, Joker Year 1, Part 1. And people were calling up going, hey, will you add Joker Year 1 to my hold? I can't wait for that to come out. I'm like, well, it's not out yet. Oh, well, they said it was out. I mean, it looked like it was out when they were advertising it. So how many issues is that? I'm like, it's Batman. It's not an issue. It's not a miniseries. Right. So they're not even advertising them correctly. And I mean, I think, and I think DC would be personally, I think they'd be better off if they did the trades and then, did graphic novels, because then it would be an original graphic novel.
Right.
That's what it would be, you know. And because I think, you know, they have so much going on, like they can't even keep track of what they're doing. You know, their long-term stories are a mess. Their continuity is a mess. I think they should just go, okay, look, you know what? We're going to do Batman. So this Batman book, and just pay people to do the stuff, put an original graphic novel out every, like maybe even every month, you know, maybe every 2 months, whatever, and put an original Justice League one out, because all they're doing is miniseries basically anyway.
Right. Right.
You know, so like why? I mean, you know, it doesn't make any sense.
Well,
And
it's
I
been
don't.
like
I
that.
collect single issues. I don't collect trades.
It's been like that since the mid 70s, and I think it really that the graphic novel onset of that came, of course, with Dark Knight Returns. I like that's the one, and that wasn't really a graphic novel. That's more of a trade paperback, in my opinion.
I mean, it was a trade paperback. So there were issues.
Yeah,
there were 4 issues. You know, but I mean that I feel like the real like the time that really happened was during COVID. You know, because they're like, well, we're not making any money, so we're not going to commit to a long-term series.
Right.
And they started cutting almost everything down to miniseries. And even if they're not miniseries, when they go 12, 13 issues and then they restart them.
Right.
You know, so it's like, you know, what's the point, man? Just why are you going 12 or 13 issues and then restarting with a new number one? That's basically a big graphic novel. It's a big storyline.
Right.
Just put it out as a like deluxe hardcover or something and just call it good.
And so the way I kind of look at it, and the reason that this has been sitting with me is I haven't been really reading a lot of comic books lately, and it's because
they're stupid and they're for kids.
Pretty much. I mean, a lot of especially Marvel and Spider-Man stuff has been dumbed down so much.
Some of it has, for sure.
Years,
yeah, some of it has.
It doesn't hold my interest, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think Marvel and DC overproduce single issues?
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's definitely a problem. So, and this is why on onset the whole bad idea thing seems on paper like it's a good idea, right? You commit. Like we're going to produce, the company says we're going to produce 6 issues of this, so we want you to commit to 6 issues as a reader.
Right.
So if you buy one, you have to buy 1 through 6. And what that does,
but at the same time, though, I don't like them telling me what I'm going to order.
Absolutely, I agree completely. Yeah. But so they do that to you, but then you have the collectors. Like the bro collectors, what I call them, that they only want number ones. The only number ones that are worth anything in indies are the only indie books that are worth anything are number ones, and only if they get made into a movie.
Yeah,
and that type of collector.
Yeah,
and
I don't like that mentality.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and that's what's killing it, because they're not going to buy 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6,
right?
Which means you as a business, and you're smart enough that when you order your indies, you know that, so you buy 1s, maybe 2s, a little bit heavier, and then it trails off.
Yeah.
And I mean, Bad Idea had their plan to kind of combat that.
And also, thank you, because very rarely have I been called smart. I really appreciate that.
Well, I meant more.
Just in one
royal you.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, then we're fine. Then.
Yeah,
we're good.
I didn't mean to overinflate your ego there.
Well, it's too late.
But I think that's a real problem with the floppies, and again, it goes back to how we collect. With the speculators kind of hurting us there.
I mean, it would solve a lot of the speculation thing, though. Speculation. My emphasis is on the wrong syllable. So what would take care of some of that speculation is, why can't I say that word correctly? Is if they went back to overprinting.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh well, okay, and also if Random House wouldn't lose Yes. But yeah, if they went back to overprinting a little bit, do a 20% overprint.
Then they'd
Okay.
have to charge 20% more for the books.
No, they wouldn't. If they did a
Oh, in their
20%,
mind, they would.
well, in their
I
mind, a lot of
guarantee you
things in their
that
mind.
that Disney is like, yeah, we're
But
gonna.
okay, so if they did a 20% overprinting, okay, of Ultimate Spider-Man 1, all right,
Okay.
and they were just sitting at the distributors waiting for reorders to come through,
I mean,
that would make them more money
in that one case.
in all those cases, man.
But who's buying
I mean,
Ultimate Spider-Man #2?
a lot of people are. It's not as much as the first one, but a lot of people are jumping onto this.
But they've dropped what, 30%?
Maybe 20.
Really?
Yeah,
That's actually pretty good retention.
yeah. The Ultimate stuff so far is doing really well. People are coming back for it. But if they did that, then somebody's like, oh man, this is $50 on eBay, man. This is the only place you can get it. And like, no, that's not true. My comic shop just ordered 50 more copies.
Right.
I can get them for $5.99. I don't need this. That would take care of a lot of that.
Well, and you see a lot of kind of that same thing where you get into the groups on Facebook and the forums and the Instagrams and all that, and people are like, oh, I didn't get that book. I didn't get Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Where can I get one without breaking the bank? Like, where can I get one for only $20?
Right. Yeah.
Where can I get that book that came out last week for only $20?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And a lot of people are like, well, wait for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
As soon as that second printing comes out, they're going to tank.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. But I mean, going back to the question, yeah, they are putting too many out, and I know it seems weird because I just said overprint them,
right?
But too many titles they're putting out.
For sure.
We don't. I mean, I'm getting burned out on Spider-Man. Me. Ooh,
yeah,
that ain't good. Because I mean, every time you turn around, there's a new Spider-Man book. There's a new Spider-Man related book. There's Spider-Boy, Spider-Woman, right. Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Punk, Spider-Boy. I mean, I maybe said that twice, but that's how much I dislike it. But you know what I mean? It's like, right. Yeah, man, if you want to do that, do a backup story. That's one thing that I think DC has done well is they're doing those backup stories. I don't believe they're worth an extra $2, right. But you do a backup story for a smaller related character. Like, we don't need a Spider-Boy book. We don't need a Spider-Punk book. If we need all that stuff, do a Spider-Verse book and make it monthly and quit relaunching it every 7 or 8 months. Well, I think they'd be amazed how much, no pun intended, how much that would actually sell.
Do it kind of like the old Marvel Comics Presents, but have just the spider characters.
Yeah. You got Amazing Spider-Man. There's your flagship. Okay, quit restarting it because it is becoming a jumping off point.
It really is.
The restarts. Man. Yeah. I mean, I've jumped off a lot of them.
Yeah,
because of that, and it's no longer a jumping on point. It's defeating the purpose. But man, have Amazing Spider-Man. That's your Spider-Man book. Okay, have Miles Morales. That's your Miles book. And again, quit retitling and restarting it. And then you've got Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That's where you throw in your Spider-Woman, your Spider-Punk, your Spider-Man 2099, your Goblin this, your other Goblin, your third Goblin, your purple Goblin, your green Goblin, your gold Goblin, your mauve Goblin. I don't even know what else they're doing now.
The Puce Goblin.
The Puce Goblin. Yes, that's my favorite.
Well, and one thing that I think that happens is people are like they come in there, they see Spider-Man movie or whatever, they come in there like, Amazing Spider-Man, pick that up. Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's also Spectacular. I'll grab that one too. So now I'm buying 2 books a month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's Gwen Stacy. She's a spider character. Well, now I got 3. And they end up, after the course of 5-6 months, you've got, a dozen books
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, I'm spending so much money on these because they're not cheap anymore.
Right.
And then they're like, well, they're going to restart this one, so I'm going to drop that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they go to the grocery store at the Walmart and find out that they can afford a candy bar now. Like, oh wow. Well, if I drop this one too, I can get a candy bar and a soda. And eventually that price point is really going to start kicking up too.
And I also think that's something to talk about, is those if they trim those titles down, they, and immediately, what happened if they had those 3 Spider titles, they'd all be $6.99.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But what they should do, because in their mind they're like, oh my god, we got to make up for those lost sales, right? But they don't understand that if you made them all $3.99 and you had those 3 books, everybody that's buying all this other stuff would just gravitate toward those 3. You wouldn't be splitting up your profits. You wouldn't be splitting up your sales.
You would actually be a lot more profitable because you could take your, what are they, 32-page book, make it a 48-page book, and bump it $1, $2 might be pushing it. But everybody would be buying those books, and so you've cut down on production costs. Like
every single person would. Like people going to work at the grocery store would stop here first. People that babies would come in and say, "Why? I'm like, I don't understand you, but here's a book. Give me $5."
All right, and Damien,
I mean, you're right though. You're right.
Yeah, they're checking to change their sales strategy of filling the racks and having lots of number ones. Even they're getting diminishing returns. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like you don't sell if they were to relaunch Amazing Spider-Man next week. Hopefully they won't. But you're not going to sell as many number ones next week as you did the last relaunch.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is. It does do that. And I think part of that is, the readers will come in. They'll be like, oh, I want to start with number 1, but they've been conditioned to do that.
Right.
From the companies, and people will come in, they're like, well, I don't want to start on number 17. I want to start on number 1. I'm like, well, they're not just redoing everything. Spider-Man's been around since 1962, man.
Right.
It's not like they're retelling the origin and starting a completely new thing every time they do a number 1. It's a continuation for number 67 or 92 or 43 or whatever. Those are continuations. A new number 1 doesn't mean that you're starting fresh.
Yeah, because they're not retelling the origin of Spider-Man.
Right.
They're not starting
a restart.
From there.
You're not jumping on at the beginning of anything.
Right.
And I think people have been lied to. You can walk back here. It's okay.
I wasn't sure if you had a camera. Sorry.
Oh, you'll be on camera.
Yeah, we do. What do you think? No.
It's definitely getting a little overblown, I think.
There you go.
With the restart.
There you go. Yeah.
And
I mean, when I was a kid, my first X-Men was 94. Okay. My Spider-Man was like 100 and whatever. And you don't go in like, oh, I want to start at the beginning of this. You go in and say, that looks cool. I'm going to check that out. And it was more of a cohesive, I guess, previously on The Sopranos, kind of thing, because they would say something about what's been happening, on that first page or so. You kind of recap a little bit, but it also wasn't this 5-year intensive, in-depth story with, 300 characters, supporting characters and everything. It wasn't all that either.
Right.
And I think they've maybe in some ways, I mean, I love stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But in some ways, I feel like they've kind of lost the fun aspect of that. By trying to make it so incredibly just really intense and just, like, oh man, this is serious stuff here. It doesn't all have to be like that.
Right.
And it doesn't have to all continue month after month after month after month after month after month.
And I think that is definitely something that they can that they can take away from the movies for sure. The movies are a lot more lighthearted than the comic books have been.
And I don't even mean like lighthearted necessarily. You know, even just kind of simplifying some things. You know, and it's like, and the movies have gotten more complicated. Like you have to do a Wikipedia search before you watch a Marvel movie now. I'm getting tired of that too. You know, but it's all you need to do is on that cover say, part 1 of a new story.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do. But then don't advertise it as that Joker Year One. Advertise it as Batman, number 141, part 1. Like they did with Death of the Family, like they did with all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that would see they want to create a collectible. They want to create the collectible. They want that number one cover.
Yeah.
Because they think that's what their consumer wants, and there are consumers out there that would want that, and it's at this point really. You talked earlier about the 90s crash. It's now coming back to bite them in the butt.
It is. It is.
A lot of people out there complaining because their number ones of whatever launched during COVID is no longer worth anything.
But what they don't realize is it never was.
Yeah.
It was a false inflation of the value of it. Right. And it's, I look at comics a lot like the housing boom and bust. It's like all these people went out and they bought houses and they're like, oh man, we're going to flip houses because that's the cool thing on HGTV. People are making millions, and they would go buy all these houses, right? They'd buy an $80,000 house, put $20,000 into it and say, okay, well, we're going to sell it for $200,000. And for a little while that worked. And now, like comics, they're stuck with 4 or 5 houses that they're paying taxes on. And they're like, well, we can't get rid of this.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing. It's like, quit looking at it as an investment. Look at it as a hobby. Look at it as fun. And I know I'm in a weird place saying that because I do that for a living. But the fact remains, it's like the more people that come in and they're like, how am I going to get rich? Well, I don't know. What are your specific skill sets? I'm not sure how you're going to get rich. I don't know how I'm going to get rich. It hasn't happened to me yet. So how am I going to tell you?
Right. And that's an extremely valid point. I don't know any rich comic shop owners.
Mm-mm.
Like you pass this paper through your hands every single day for the last 20 years. And you got a pretty nice car though. You do have a pretty nice car. He's got a nice car. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I do. No, I guess John that owns and Torpedo, but he also plays drums for System of a Down, so that's a different situation. You know what I mean?
Mile High.
Yeah, Chuck.
But he's not a millionaire.
No, he's not. But I'll tell you one thing, man. If I were charging $20 for a $2 book, I'd be pretty rich too. I'd be doing okay as well.
Special Head issue 2 sold out. Bought issue 1, but we'll buy the trade this summer because no issue 2. That's an issue, a concern as well.
I feel like I've got those. I think I have those.
Really?
Yeah.
And we can mail one to you.
Yeah, we can do that. Call me. Call me.
Yeah, call from the Netherlands.
There you go. It's pronounced Netherlands.
I always want to tell comic speculators to invest long-term in the stock market index funds instead. Yeah, absolutely. We've all got books in our collections that have some value.
Yeah, but I'm not going to sell them.
Well, even if we were to sell them, looking at the books that I have that are worth a lot of money, if I were to sell them, I don't know if the return on the investment's there.
Yeah.
At this point, because the market's down, but I didn't buy any of those books because I was expecting them to be worth a ton of money.
Yeah. Except that John Carter of Mars 1 in 1,000 Virgin variant. With the the bedazzled foil and the holographic die cut.
I went heavy on John Carter Mars issue 1. I think I bought every single episode.
I really appreciate that because I couldn't sell them because they sucked.
They were horrible. Oh God.
Oh, I always got to bring that up.
Days of Thor is good though.
Yeah, and it's I mean that's the thing though, is it's like long term, and that I don't know, maybe that's the thing too, is people don't realize everything investment wise is long term. I think over the last decade or two, especially the last decade though, we've gotten so used to, and I'm blaming Jeff Bezos, some bitch. You get everything like that.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, you get it like that. Movies on demand, same day or next day shipping from Amazon. Everybody needs their damn everything so quick, and it's like, and cryptocurrency, I can make $1 million by Tuesday. Okay, well, this new number one comic, man, I can put that up because market value says it's worth $300. It's like, everybody wants this quick fix and this get rich quick garbage, and it's like, and like Matt will come in, Matt Crane, he'll come in and he'll look around, and like, he doesn't play it like that. He plays it smart. He's like, what? Do you have an issue, something, or whatever? Can I buy like 5 of those? I'm like, yeah, sure. What's going on with that? And he goes, nothing. I just think it has a possibility.
Yeah.
He's playing the long game with it.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of what you have to do.
And it's really paid off for him, but he studies that market.
Right. Yeah.
Like he knows that market.
Yeah.
Not James.
I don't think that's where he makes his money though. I think he's an attorney.
He's an attorney. Yeah, that's not where he makes money.
No, but I know what you're saying.
But he doesn't lose money at books. Right. Jonathan Hall, same way. He's made good money in a real tough market because Matt will do that with Marvel, DC, occasionally an indie or whatever.
Yeah, some Dark Horse here and there. Yeah.
Jonathan does it on indies.
Yeah,
like, and he calls it every time. Like every time he's called me, he's like, "Dude, you need to pick up this book." I'm like, "All right," because I know that.
Swear to God, if I didn't know any better, I would think it's insider trading.
With him,
he hits.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Very rarely does he not hit.
Yeah.
I just, I remember him saying years ago, "Hey, you should do this variant with me. We got this cool new artist. Her name's Peach Momoko." And I'm like,
"Yeah,
oh yeah." He's like, "Yeah, she's gonna be big, man. She's gonna be big." And I got this guy Ivan Tao. He's gonna be big, man. And I'm like, "All right, whatever."
Yeah.
Sold out of that variant quick.
But for every one of those guys, there's,
100,000 people that are like
the speculators that just want the return and don't think to look at the market. And
right. And,
what they're doing
it's like anything, man. It's like anything. If you go and you're like, "Oh, okay, well, this is big. I'm going to buy $10,000 worth of stock and then dump it next week, and make 50,000." It's like, no, you're not. That's not, you have to do research. You have to look at it. You have to be involved in this. I'm not saying that it's impossible to do it. No, but that has to be what you do.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I make a living. I pay my bills. I got a nice car. But you know what I mean? It's like, and what do I do? And how many times do you see me studying books, looking through previews, doing my orders, adjusting my orders, marking stuff down, making room, doing this, doing that? That's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do for 60 hours a week. And if you want to put 60 hours a week in, then you can't do it part-time and do a get rich quick.
Right.
And you got to commit to that and do it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying, hey, speculators, come in and buy everything on the shelf. Go for it, man. Come and get them. I'll help you carry into the car. Happy to do it. But you need to put that effort and time in. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like that.
Yeah. And everything that you have on the shelf, like every single book over there, 40 years from now, is going to be sought after.
Maybe not.
They will be. I mean, 40
probably,
years ago,
probably,
we look at the stuff that was out in 1983.
Yeah.
Like it took 30, 40 years for it to become anything.
Yeah, that's true.
But it did. And that stuff, like, you're not going to sell it for hundreds of dollars. Yeah. But every one of those books that you paid
$10, $15 maybe, whatever.
Yeah, for every one of those books in 1983 that you spent 75 cents, $1 for, you can get at least $5 a piece for them now,
Yeah, for the most
all day
part,
long.
Yeah.
You just throw them out, and like you got tons of them in your
Yeah.
boxes.
Well, and it's kind of funny, and because you look at stuff now, and it's like, I've been in this for 20 years now, right? And I've had the shop for 20 years,
Right.
And to me, stuff that came out 20, 25, even 30 years ago is still newer,
Right.
And so when you take 1983, for example, stuff that came out 20 years ago was introducing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men, everything. That was all new stuff. And you can see, like, in the early 80s, man, those ads in the back of the comics. They'd be like, they'd be like, Fantastic Four #1, $50.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, that's insane. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to pay that much for a comic book. I wish I would have bought every single one of them in those ads. But,
Right.
But at that time, $50 was a lot of money, man. It's like coming in here and looking at something and being like, oh, it's $500. Okay,
Well,
that's still a lot of money.
You go back 40 years, into the 80s, and Ninja Turtles and Usagi Yojimbo, all of these 80s characters are starting to come around. The G.I. Joes, Thundercats are getting a reboot now, and that's been real popular. Transformers, all that stuff.
And you move a little further up, Youngblood, Union, Brigade, Dr. Mirage.
Who knows? 10 years from now, put those things out for. Like, I've got a lot of people that are.
I'm just saying that so people will come in and buy that crap from me because I can't get rid of it.
I've got people sending me, to get pressed and cleaned so they could get graded Barrage, or not Barrage, Brigade #1. I've been seeing a lot of those. You had a customer.
To send you a Max one. No.
Oh, Max #1. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Like Youngblood, most overproduced comics of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're starting to see.
I don't think those will ever be worth anything more than $5 or $10. Youngbloods, Brigades, stuff like that. No way. Right. Wildcats, maybe. Max, maybe. Not Pitt, not Union, none of that stuff.
I like Pitt.
I didn't say it's not cool. I just said, and they're not.
And I think that that kind of speaks to the whole floppy versus collected edition thing. Like, Pitt was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Pitt was really cool. And yes, you can go to the quarter box and get the entire run for $0.25 a piece.
Yeah, the Pitt, or as I call him, Noseless Hulk.
Yeah. But you can also just, get a trade paperback or something like that and save yourself some money and room on your shelf.
Yeah.
Selling books that you save for 40 years piece by piece for $5 to $15 is still a hard way. It is definitely a hard way to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm screwed because there's no way in hell I'm going to be here in 40 years. We're both going to be gone.
Yeah. So I don't know, especially with the indie stuff, it seems like trade paperback is the only way you can really read an indie book anymore.
A lot of it, yeah. But I mean, and also that has to do with the print runs.
And you do a pretty good job of anticipating what the customers are going to buy. So you don't, and you sit on a lot of stuff, I'm sure, but you have enough to carry people through that last issue number 6 of whatever that indie limited series is.
And then I can also do, I also do everything I can to try and find ways to get those issues back in.
Right.
I mean, whether it's trading with other shops, whether it's, whatever the case may be. I mean, 95% of the time I can probably get those back in. Even if it's not a first print, still, if you want to read the book, we can get you a printing or a copy. 9 times out of 10. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. People are going nuts over that book. And people come in and like, do you have a first print? And I'm like, no. It's on a 3rd print now.
Really?
It's on a 3rd printing, and I'm almost out of those.
Yeah, I haven't even read that one yet.
That's one that lived up to the hype. I think the hype was just about right with that because it's awesome.
I think a lot of indies nowadays live up to the hype.
Some do, yeah. More than they used to.
I think the indie stuff right now is doing a much better job than the big three, for sure.
Oh yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
About putting out something quality worth reading.
Yeah.
And and it really comes down to a lot of what we're discussing is like you got people that read books, you got people that collect books.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not always the same people.
Right.
Like there's a lot of great
and
stories
everybody,
out there.
And everybody collects different ways. I always try to stress that, when people talk about, oh, I only slab mine, or I only get them for covers, or I don't read them, or I don't care what cover it is, I just want to read them, or whatever it is. Everybody collects a different way. And I've had people even say like, like, oh, somebody told me about top loaders. What are those? And I tell them, and they're like, well, what's the advantage to that? And to me, there's only disadvantages with that. It takes up more room. It's open at the top. Water gets in there. They're done.
Yeah.
And they seem like a terrible idea to me. I don't know why anybody would do it, but at the same time, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So, and in their eyes, what I'm doing is wrong. So it's like, who knows? Who cares? Whatever, man. It's all different stuff.
Yeah.
Just, do what you like, do what you enjoy. And I guess the bottom line is don't let people tell you how to collect or how not to collect.
Yeah.
Just enjoy this because it's supposed to be fun. Have a good time with it.
And read a book once in a while. There's some great stories out there.
Mm-hmm.
Read a book by Doug Wagner.
That's true.
Illustrated by Tim Oplin.
Mm-hmm. Read the greatest sci-fi novel of all time with the biggest superhero I can think of.
What would that be?
That's the Bible, my friend.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. That's the Bible.
Which I've actually got Jesus' first appearance in comic books. I can't remember what book it was, but I got that.
Well, there you go. Was it Green Arrow?
No, I think
Green
it
Lantern?
was. I think it was the Ten Commandments. I don't
know. Anyway,
it was like mid-60s thing.
I'll wait for the movie.
So, just some food for thought. I'm personally gonna start collecting a lot more collected editions. It just makes more sense because I'm not looking to make money on my collection. I just want to read the stuff.
Yeah, and
it's nice to have a self-contained story. And I do feel a little guilty opening up a floppy and reading. I'm like, man, I'm going to put a tick in the spine, or I'm going to mess this up somehow. No. So that gets to be an issue.
I'd pour a big old glass of whiskey and read them in the bathtub. Serious, man. Big old stack up next to the tub right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So with your bubble bath.
Damn straight.
Bubble bath.
Dude, yeah. Bath bomb.
Your Mr. Bubble going on.
Bath bomb.
All right. So just a couple more things. Just once again, if you're in Utah, stop by Tim Oplin's benefit here. Going to be tons of people here signing. Have Sal take a look at your portfolio. Mm-hmm. Go to Black Cat Comics on Facebook. Check out the lineup that he has for the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, we're not even close to done announcing.
Yeah. Phil Seavey's going to be here. Teeny's going to be here.
Teeny Howard, Erica Schultz will be here.
Just crazy.
Yeah. Matt Page will be here. Doug Wagner will be here.
I'm sure a lot of the familiar faces are going to be kicking around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people will come by and, just kind of hang out and say hi and stuff, I'm sure.
A lot of stuff. And it's going to have a sale 20% off. Mm-hmm. Absolutely everything in the store, including the car.
Mm-hmm. Not the car.
Not the car.
It's a nice car.
So that going on. And then you haven't even announced anything for Free Comic Book Day yet.
Oh yeah, we'll have people signing for that. It's going to be a summer. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very exciting and really good. So there you go.
Oh yeah, Omnibus. Didn't even touch on Omnibus. I bought my first Omnibus. I got a Conan the Barbarian Omnibus.
Wow.
Volume 1. I don't know. I guess I have a Kiss Omnibus that has every Kiss comic ever in it.
Sounded like you said you got a kiss on the butt. That's what it sounded like you said.
I may have.
Okay.
Gallery editions.
Gallery editions are cool. I like the artist editions that they do. Those are really neat.
Yeah.
But those aren't like collected anything. They're just, scans of the scans of the pages and stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
They did that. They did that Batman book not too long ago that had the B covers from Detective Comics.
Oh yeah.
Arranged in a story that was very cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Okay.
All right, so make sure you. When's the Oddland thing? The 30th?
Yes,
30th.
next Saturday, the 30th.
Yeah, so not 2 days from now.
No.
A week from now.
Right.
Okay.
There you
Yeah, 'cause I'm gonna be out of town 2 weeks or 2 days from now. So make sure you pop in for that.
Yes.
Make sure to catch us here every Thursday, 3:30 for Everything's Late, Nobody Dies, where we ramble on for an hour or so about different stuff,
things, yeah,
and things and stuff. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the little bell. That way you'll get notified whenever one of our shows are about to erupt.
Should make that happen somehow. That just go ha ha ha.
There you
When
go.
they get a new one. There you go.
All right. See you later, traders.
Bye.